to address the Nigerian Bar Association at this important moment in our history, when our country is preparing to make one of the most consequential changes to its constitutional and security order since the return to democracy. I bring you the greetings and well wishes of our President and Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Mr. President has asked me to congratulate the Nigerian Bar Association on this occasion of our 66th Annual General Conference and convey his sincere appreciation to the association for continuing to be a principled voice and a diligent partner in the joint effort to build a new Nigeria that exceeds all our best expectations. His Excellency has asked that I speak to you candidly today about why this administration is pursuing this reform, what we intend to build, why it matters, and the standard by which the country should judge our work. The first duty of government is protection. When lawful protection is absent, schools close, businesses retreat, and communities begin to make dangerous arrangements for their own survival. Who polices Nigeria? That is the question. The Constitution gives a clear answer. Section 214 establishes the Nigerian Police Force as the only police force for the Federation. For a citizen in danger, the answer is measured less by constitutional text than by time. Did anyone answer the call? How far away was the nearest patrol? Did help arrive before the damage was done? These are the questions that are asked. Now, the theme of this conference is beyond limits. On policing, we cannot move beyond our limits until we are honest about them. President Tinubu has chosen to confront a truth Nigeria has postponed for too long. A country of our size and diversity cannot continue to depend on a single centrally commanded police institution for all its policing needs. We ask one police structure to serve crowded cities, remote settlements, and long border corridors, often with too few officers and too little local knowledge. We have stretched it beyond what institution can reasonably carry. Now, in this respect, Nigeria stands apart from nearly every federation comparable to us in scale and complexity. In the United States, in Canada, Australia, in Germany, in India, and in Brazil, policing authority is distributed between federal and constituent governments, and much of ordinary policing is carried out by the state, provincial, or local institutions. Nigeria, in contrast, constitutionally prohibits every state from establishing a police service and attempts to meet profoundly local security needs through a single national chain of command. That distinction has not served us well. It has left our policing system at odds with the practical demands of our federation. The easier political course would have been to continue the debate and leave the arrangement untouched, because critical reforms are always difficult and impose political costs. President Tinubu has decided that further postponement is itself a choice. It is the wrong choice, and citizens have carried its consequences far too long. By proposing a dual policing system, the federal government is prepared to share an authority it has long held alone, because the safety of Nigerians matters more than preserving a familiar arrangement. This decision to move towards a dual policing system for our country is not an indictment of every officer of the Nigerian police force. Many serve with courage and decency in conditions that will test the strongest individual. Some are paid with their lives. The sacrifice makes reform even more urgent, because courage should not have to compensate indefinitely for structural weaknesses. Yet, decentralization without professional standards and constitutional restraint will reproduce the same failures closer to the citizen. Our task is to bring lawful protection nearer to Nigerians while binding police power more firmly to law. Now, this reform goes to the heart of how our federation works. Nigerians look to state governments when insecurity rises. Yet, those governments do not command the only police force recognized by the Constitution. Thus, responsibility and lawful capacity are separated. A dual system will begin to correct the imbalance. States that are willing and able should have the means to protect their people, while the Federation retains a capable national service for federal responsibilities and interstate crime. Every citizen will remain within one constitutional order. Excuse me for a minute. I'm not sure how the gentlemen who were on this stage were able to withstand the heat here, but I'll have to take off my jacket if you don't mind, so that I can be a little bit more comfortable in addressing this very, very important issue of the day. Every service will remain within one constitutional order, like I said. A Nigerian must receive equal protection in any state, regardless of origin, ethnicity, religion, or political affiliation. Consider what these reforms will mean for the citizen. Success means that help arrives within a reasonable time and that officers understand the terrain they police. A victim should be able to report a crime without fear that the information will be sold or used against him. An investigation should be competent enough to stand in court. When an officer abuses power, the complaint should reach an institution able to act. This vision of the future inspires these reforms. It is important that we understand and agree on the specific nature of the problems we are trying to solve through these reforms. Nigeria first has a problem of reach. That's one of the problems of our police, the problem of reach. We do not have enough deployable police personnel to provide the policing coverage our population and geography require. National headcount matters, but the decisive measure is how much professional policing reaches the public. Our reality today is police commands that look adequately staffed on paper, while whole communities remain hours away from help. Nigeria currently has approximately one police officer for every 650 citizens, compared with the widely used international benchmark of one officer for every 450 people. On paper alone, this leaves the country roughly 160 officers short. The practical deficit is greater because not every officer on the nominal strength is available for routine policing in our communities. When you consider that over an estimated 100,000 officers are deployed on administrative and special protection duties, the shortfall becomes even greater. State police services can expand the presence available across the country and place responsibility closer to the people affected by failure. However, increasing the numbers without changing the standard will create a greater danger. Police authority includes the power to search, arrest, detain, and in defined circumstances, to use force. Entry into that profession, therefore, should be among the most exacting processes in public service. Political recommendation cannot replace a background check. Training must prepare officers to understand the law, preserve evidence, and exercise force within lawful limits. Professionalism also depends on what the institution asks of an officer and what it gives in return. We cannot demand integrity while tolerating irregular pay, uncertain pensions, or neglect of officers injured in service. Policing should become a respected career that able Nigerians deliberately choose, with fair remuneration and a credible path for advancement. Accountability should be equally serious. An officer dismissed for brutality, extortion, or criminal association in one service should never be able or allowed to reappear in another uniform elsewhere quietly. Local recruitment can improve intelligence because useful information begins with familiarity.